Sitara, currently ranked top 5 female psychic in the U.S. by the United Federation of Certified Psychics and Mediums. Always a mouthful when I introduce myself in that way. Tonight we're here in an exciting way. I had one of those tingly moments where it was like, okay, it's time to hop on and do a live, and I haven't had that in a really, really long time. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start us off with a prayer and invocation, and then whoever is here live is able to ask questions, to tune in, see what might arise for them. And since I'm doing this impromptu with no real heads up, I just sent an email blast out to my email list, which you can find at monadsociety.com, or you can find me on Instagram at Sitara Speaks, and it's right there in the link in the bio. So you can add yourself to the email list and get these blasts when I do decide to go live like this, which might be more often than we think. And I already see some people popping on here. So if you could type into the comments to make sure that I am seeing those, I would really appreciate it. Let me see here. There we go. All right, have the live chat turned on so that we can have a conversation. But what I'm going to go ahead and do anyways, we're going to start with a prayer, start with an invocation, and really give us some time to ground and anchor our intentions. We're still right in that 48-hour period after the new moon. So I don't know about you guys, but I have been in a deep, deep, deep state of shedding all day. Lots of energy moving through, lots of new realizations, lots of making room for what's new and what can come. So with that being said, let me go ahead and start us out with our prayer invocation, calling in some of our ascended masters and guides. I also want to welcome in, because today has also been a really interesting day of communicating with some of those loved ones who have passed. I don't know if it's because we're getting closer to Halloween or what is kind of in the air. One of my mentors actually also is starting to, she's been promoting an event where she's talking to loved ones from the other side. So I don't know if that's why it's in my field, but that seems to be very open for me today. So I also want to open the field if we want to do any mediumship connections, any mediumship readings. If you have any loved ones that that you would like to contact, let's go ahead and open that up. I also haven't done that in a while, and the reason that I haven't done this or that in a while is because when I was doing live readings a lot and I was living in Los Angeles and I was opening them to contact readings, I ended up getting a lot of people from the other side that wanted to share messages with me and through me constantly, not just when I was live. So I do have to sometimes be careful with that. But like I said, when it feels aligned and it feels like it's coming through naturally and gracefully, and I'm having that inclination, then I generally like to listen to it to offer that kind of space and healing. All right, so let's go ahead and do a little prayer invocation, taking a couple nice big deep breaths in through the nose and breathing out down through the root chakra down to the center of Mama Gaia. Allowing your heart to settle, allowing those sensations that you're feeling in your body to really wash through, allowing all that is not you to simply fall away to the center of the earth, really rooting and connecting that grounding cord from your root chakra all the way down to the center of the earth. Took me about 2 hours today to really feel that connection happening very, very strong, which generally means there's a lot of energy that's moving through the field, a lot of energy that's moving through the space. Is also generally an indicator of how much time it's been between when I have set the intention to ground and anchor in my field and how often I'm doing it, because usually it will start to become a little bit easier just sharing that as a reflection for you as well. If you're finding it hard to ground, I encourage you to do more grounding throughout the day. That means feet barefoot on the earth, hands on the earth, I find also really helps, putting your hands in soil, but also just connecting root chakra all the way down to the center of the planet. So, taking a couple nice big deep breaths. Let's go ahead and take a moment to focus on the center of your own heart. And as you may be watching this on the replay as well, I encourage you to set the intention or set the connection. If there is someone or a loved one that you're feeling you're having a hard time connecting with, and this could be someone that's in the body or out of the body, somebody that has left their body or also somebody that is still in their body. Because what I want to encourage the understanding of today is that when we're, like, let's say we're going through a challenging circumstance or a situation, and all of a sudden it feels like we're in a pressure cooker of growth, and it may be a dramatic situation where there's a lot of he said, she said. It might be a work situation, it might just be a high stress situation, it might be a sickness of a loved one. Whatever it is, if we're feeling like we're not able to quite get through, what I want to encourage us here is to understand that we can connect higher self to higher self. That means soul to soul. So as a medium, one of my abilities is to be able to connect with spirits that are outside of body. So that means loved ones that have passed, that includes rocks and crystals, that includes the spirit of water, that includes the spirit of plants, that includes baby beings, that includes entities that are plugged into people as possessions, that includes demonic or dark entities. It includes all sorts of spirits that are outside of body, which is why a lot of mediums that have these abilities are afraid of them, because once you start to open it to see angels, you also open it to see all sorts of things. So that's for another video, that's for another session, for another call. But what we want to focus on today is I want to bring the intention of understanding and knowing that you have the ability very clearly and very easily to be able to connect soul to soul, heart to heart with somebody that you may or may not feel that you're having a hard time getting through to. So let's go ahead and set that intention right now as we're here. So grounding and connecting with that center of heart space. Focusing all of your attention right there in the center of your own heart. Knowing that the center of your own heart is where your soul lives. And as the center of your own heart being where your soul lives, you have the opportunity to open and allow, open and allow, open and allow. For those of us that may be feeling quite a bit of pain or constriction on the heart, you can go ahead and just tap on the chest. If you're having anxiety, it's always nice to just put your hand right there on your chest where you might feel that tightness. Go ahead and setting the intention to open your heart even more than it is right now. Simply saying a prayer of safety so that you can feel safe in this space, opening your heart. Knowing that you are here, surrounded by your own angels and guides. Take this opportunity to peel a layer of density off. Hello and welcome in the chat. Hi. So just take a few moments to breathe. And again, grounding root chakra to the center of the planet. Beautiful. So as we call in divine truth and love into this sacred space, we invoke the highest possible healing for each and every viewer, replayer, and myself. We ask for the courage and compassion to speak and to hear from the purest form of self-love and forgiveness to all involved. Beautiful. All right, so for those of you that are in the chat, please feel free to type in your questions. What is it that you would like for me to take a look at? You can be as specific or as general as possible. If you just want me to do a simple aura reading, just simply type in the chat, me, hi, something along those lines. And we'll just go old school with this and see what comes up, being that the intention is set. I'm also going to set the intention to set up my circle of empowerment as we're waiting for some of those questions or volunteers to come up through the chat. Calling in that circle of empowerment. And I do encourage each of you to pick a color for yourself. What is your color today? What is your color as you're watching this, as you're tuning in? And so just envision yourself in a nice bubble of that color that is yours and only yours. Beautiful. All right, Dee Dee Scott, I see to look at your new job at the Postal Service. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a couple nice, big, deep, grounding breaths. You'll notice that I encourage us to breathe a lot through this, and that's to create spaciousness in the intention. So as the spaciousness in the intention is coming through, take nice, big, deep breath. All right, so Dee Dee, the first thing that I'm seeing is that, one, there's some excitement to it, and there's also some uncertainty. What I'm seeing is that this job with the Postal Service, it's like it's almost acting as a buffer. It's like it's a bridge period, because what I see is that there's some searching going on. There's like some soul searching going on, but I also see that you're in a period of awakening and deepening to the understanding of what you're doing here, like answering the existential questions of who am I, what's the purpose of this existence, like that sort of thing, like in that sort of theme. And so what I'm seeing with this job at the Postal Service is it can, like, you can be there for as long or as short as you want. And the timeline of this is going to be determined really by how you're spending your time outside of the postal, outside of work, basically. So it's like, what are you consuming outside of your job? What YouTube videos are you watching? What books are you reading? What podcasts are you listening to? It's like, what kind of, I see that this is like a gathering of information period for you. I see that this is really, it's like a comfortable kind of spacer for you to decide what your next step is going to be. And so as you have that comfortable spacer, it's giving you the opportunity to dive a little bit deeper into, one, the safety of having that consistent financial flow coming in, so that you're not, it's like, if that is taken care of, then what else can you do? So I do see that it is a period not to spend, because it's like, there's a lot of information coming in very quickly, hang on. Okay, so it's like, and this is kind of going into a general reading for a lot of us, but there's a theme coming up around, like, what happens when we're in a job that we don't like. There's a propensity, let's say there's a propensity to almost start self-sabotaging. There's a propensity to go out and get drunk every weekend, or there's a desire to almost sabotage what the other opportunities in this world have for us. And so let's have an example of like a corporate job, and somebody that's in a corporate job that's making a lot of monies but is miserable going into this job. And so what they're doing, are they're drinking on the weekends, or they're drinking every night, and they're numbing the reality of the circumstance and the situation. Now, they're going to be in that situation for a very long time, because they're numbing the exact feelings and emotions that are giving them the indication that something needs to change. So when you're in this job or you're stepping into a new role at the Postal Service, that's a beautiful thing to give yourself the opportunity to lean into like the circumstances that are there that will give you the opportunity to answer these deeper questions that you have spinning. Like, what is my sole purpose? What is my dharma? What is it that I want to be creating in the world? What is my contribution? Um, all of that coming through for you, giving yourself the opportunity to be sober. And I am an advocate for sobriety. I am an advocate for the responsible use of psychedelics to explore these things, because they crack us open from the inside out to be able to see some of the things that are available to us. And when I say responsible, I mean in a safe and responsible setting, a safe place for you to be able to explore, to open your heart, to open your mind in ways that start to be the catalyst for change. There are I have almost 400 videos on YouTube, so I obviously am an advocate of my own channel. There are a lot of transmissions here, the new moon transmissions, the light code boosts. All of those will start awakening you to your purpose. They'll start to remind you of your soul's calling. So the thing about the light codes and the light language is that the light language is actually an activator to awaken your soul memories. So one of the funny ways that I like to describe this is like, if you went out drinking with your friends and you overindulged, let's say, and then the next morning your friends are like, haha, laughing, and they're like, remember when you did this? Remember when you did this? And you're like, kind of like fuzzy, but you're like, oh, I don't really know. And then you're like, oh my God, I do remember that. I do remember that. I do. And then the memory starts coming back. That's kind of what light codes do, but they do it for your soul. So it's a bit of a bigger deal, obviously. They do it for your soul. As a medium and psychic, like a lot of people ask me, what does that mean? Because we don't often know. These aren't household terms. So as a psychic, what I can also do is help people access and activate those soul memories. So when I was a little girl and I was raised Presbyterian, I was in Christian church and I was in Sunday school, I noticed there was so much focus on where do we go when we die. And for me, I was like, why can't anyone answer where we came from? For some reason, I was like fixated on this. Where did we come from? How did we get here? Is what I wanted to know. And the simple, biological answer was not enough for me. But I believe that our soul has memories. And part of that is because I do past life readings. I've done future life progressions. I've remembered my own lifetimes from Atlantis. I've remembered my own lifetimes from other planets. I personally have activated these things inside of myself, which is why I use the light codes and the transmissions that I have to help awaken you to these things. And you can do this from YouTube. You can literally do this from YouTube. Of course, I have another course called 7 Weeks to Embody Your Higher Self that you can tune into. And that 7 Weeks to Embody Your Higher Self is also a massively powerful activator for becoming aware of your conscious being, what you're here to do in this world, on this planet. And yeah, so there's all sorts of resources here. So Dee Dee, the reason I've kind of gone off on this tangent is not just for you, but it's also for all of us to be very aware of how we're spending our time during this period of the Great Awakening, because for the next 18 months, we are going to see a major quickening in the amount of people that are going through conscious awakenings. Is this resonating with you guys? Are you experiencing a greater sense of your own awakening? Are you experiencing more people in your world and in your life going through an awakening? Oftentimes this actually happens through pressure, that all of a sudden it's like the pressure of coal creates a diamond. It's kind of like one of these circumstances or situations where people wake up through loss of a loved one, people wake up through divorce, people wake up through a car crash, people wake up through, sometimes people just slowly, subtly wake up. Sometimes people wake up because they did too much psychedelics and like rocket launched them in a weird way, which is why, again, responsible use only. But there are so many different ways that we wake up, and there's so many different phases of awakening. I know I woke up in my early 20s, like very consciously woke up in my early 20s. I knew I had these abilities when I was a little girl, but I very consciously woke up to the truth and the illumination of my soul and what my soul purpose was in my early 20s. And so since then, which has been a while, since then, I have continued to go through these phases, and I genuinely feel that I've been going through one in the last 2 weeks. There's these initiation periods and these initiation periods where it seems like we're losing a grip on the control, the illusion of the control that we think we have in our life. Um, Beautiful. Savannah, yes, you're looking for confirmation that it's time to embrace and use your spiritual gifts. Well, my dear friend, this is your confirmation. You are here at exactly the right time and place to ask that question, to drop that in the feed. And if you're asking me, it is always the right time to activate your spiritual gifts and use them for the benefit of those around you. Always. Always fill your cup first, but always use your abilities to the best of those around you. And Dee Dee, thank you so much for joining in and jumping in here today. I used to do these lives every single day. And you know what it did? It initiated such a massive growth period and quantum leap that I ended up moving from Bali to Dubai. And then I didn't do a bunch of lives because I got into a pretty fast-paced job situation in Dubai where I learned a lot. But here I am again, and I hope to be connecting with you more often because I really do love this space. It's so tender and so beautiful and so illuminating for so many of us. All right, so Dee Dee, I hope that's helpful. Enjoy your time at the Postal Service. Make the most of it. I highly encourage sobriety on the weekends, during the week. If you're like, well, I'd rather drink a glass of wine to relax or whatever, that maybe you do, maybe you don't, but general statement for everybody. Go to a meditation, go to a transmission on my channel or the 7 weeks to embody your higher self, because really all you have to do, beautiful, you don't drink, I love that, me neither. Go ahead and just like lay down and put headphones in and listen to these meditations, and they will bring you on out-of-body cosmic adventure field trips. They will bring you into your innermost desires. They will peel away grudges and layers of resentment. You'll be more loving. You'll feel more light. You will be able to let go of these densities and hardened edges that life just kind of brings into our world. And so I highly, highly, highly recommend listening to these transmissions, or the transmissions that I have recorded, because you'll start to remember the truth of your sovereignty. You'll start to remember the truth of your divinity. You'll start to remember where you came from. And for some, it may take longer than others, just depending on the density of the thickness and the willingness to let go. So I highly, highly, highly recommend diving in a little bit deeper to the curiosity of what is in this world that doesn't quite meet the eye. What is beyond the physical? So exciting. All right, Amy, are you still here? I saw that you were open for a reading. Let me know, my dear. Yes, thank you. Kuldip. Yes, Amy, you're still here. Beautiful. And for those of you that are interested in the 7 weeks to embody your higher self course, you can find that on my Instagram in the link in the bio at Sitara Speaks. Or you can also find it in the description of some of these videos. It's not in the description of this one right here, but of many other videos that I have on YouTube. And I will post it in the description after we edit this one a little bit. All right. So Amy, let's go ahead and say hello to you. Beautiful. I saw that you said that your color is purple, and what's funny is I'm seeing your aura at purple orange. It's like purple on the top and orange, so it looks like orange was the color that you were coming in at, and purple is the color that you chose. So let's see what the resistance to the orange is. Okay, so I'm seeing that the orange is actually blocking, and it's like an injury. There's some pain going on in your, looks like right side of your womb space, right side of your uterus. There's some energy there that isn't yours. It looks like it is Gemma, ask me that again when I'm done with this reading with Amy, please. Um, so seeing that energy in the womb space, it's not yours. Let's go ahead and let's do some female grounding. Go ahead and rub your hands together. Yotanaya wa hun uakua. What you're doing by rubbing your hands together is you're opening your hand chakras. We have our healing centers and abilities to do healing with our hands, including self-healing. Right here, we have chakras here. We have them also on the pads of each of our fingers. Psychometry is a gift that when you touch things, you can receive information from them. You get them from these little information sensors on your pads of your fingers. Anyway, that was a little parentheses tangent. So go ahead and rub your palms together. Go ahead and place them. This is for ladies. Go ahead and place them right here on your womb space, of your ovaries, your fallopian tubes, your womb, your uterus, your cervix, all those lady parts. And go ahead and visualize those connecting to your main grounding. So you have that main grounding cord, remember from the invocation in the beginning, that open your connection from your root chakra all the way down to the center of Mama Gaia, all the way down to the center of the earth. And so go ahead and connect that. And go ahead and just visually like squeeze your ovaries. Squeeze them like little sponges and squeeze all the energy out of them. And just see a golden, let's just see them as golden in color. So golden in color through there, and then golden in color through the fallopian tubes to the uterus. And go ahead and ground all of that into your main grounding. So what we're doing here is we are releasing the energy from past lovers. We're also, so as women, we have the ability to create life. We have the ability to create human beings inside of our bodies. So when we are not using that energy to create life, we're using that creative life force energy in a lot of other ways. If we are unconscious, it is very often that we can give that creative life force energy to our partners or our children or our boss or anywhere else. So what we want to do is make sure that we're keeping our lady centers, our female centers, very clear and very clean, so that you know that you are utilizing your creative life force energy in your life in a way that is very beneficial to you. So, Amy, what I'm seeing there is like, we can also, this also just came in, go ahead and create a gold sticky rose, so kind of like a gold Swiffer, and just visualize. You can use your psychic hand, or I'm demonstrating with my real hand, but go ahead and use that and just kind of go in and just kind of just clear and cleanse it all out, like you would like you're clearing out cobwebs, or you're clearing out debris, or you're just clearing out and cleansing out stuff that isn't yours. When you're clearing this energy out of your field, you'll feel it. What isn't yours, you'll literally feel this like, oh my gosh, this sigh of relief, because you're like, oh, thank goodness. I didn't know why I was feeling so heavy. I didn't know why I was feeling so creatively blocked. I didn't know why I was feeling unmotivated to exercise. I didn't know why I was feeling these ways. Well, when you start moving that energy out of your body, which is really important, this is why we have our womb cycle. IUDs and birth control systems that take away your menstrual cycle are not healthy. They are not beneficial. I'm also speaking from experience. I had one for 5 years. My body had to rearrange itself for the last 3, getting clear on what I was doing to my body hormonally, let alone not even acknowledging what I was doing to my own intuition, what I was doing to my own creative centers, what I was doing to my own natural abilities as a clear channel and as a female. Like, we have a heightened sense of intuition for a reason. We are the conduit between realms. Our bodies host other beings. That's special. It's very special. And there are certain things that happen in this world that we have been programmed not to believe in, these things and these capabilities that our body can do. So Amy, as we're looking, and I say Amy, but I mean everybody that's here listening, because I believe you're here for a reason. When we are looking at that womb space and you're really clearing and cleansing it out, I'm getting also that it's important to flush it out from the top. Okay, so we have a root chakra connected to the center of the planet. We're also going to bring in a line of energy. Let's say golden fire. Let's play with some golden fire today. So you see this golden fire coming in through your crown chakra. Looks like I had a little bit to clear off of there before we really got going here. So allowing those golden flames to come down through your crown chakra, and you can kind of tap your head if you'd like. Go ahead and allow that golden flames to go down through the crown of your head, down through your third eye. You can kind of tap on these energy centers if it feels right and good to you. So tapping on the third eye, bringing that golden flame energy down, tapping on the throat, bringing that golden energy down. Go ahead and tap on the heart space, bringing that golden energy down. Go ahead and tap on the solar plexus, bringing that golden energy down. Go ahead and tap on the sacral chakra, bringing that golden energy down. Go ahead and tap on the root chakra, bringing that golden line of that golden flame energy all the way down, connecting it to your root chakra, and let that golden flame energy flow all the way down your grounding cord to the center of the planet. This will just purify everything, like drain out, just like get rid of it all. And when I say get rid of it all, you're literally just cleaning the pipes. You're getting rid of the things that no longer serve you. So, okay, so now that we have this golden flame energy moving through, go ahead and actually start to collect that in your womb space. So where you're feeling like that sacral chakra connection to your womb, your creative life force space, your creative life force energy, go ahead and allow that golden energy to just percolate through that entire field, that entire space. Clearing and cleansing on a cellular level. Resetting your entire womb space. Clearing the ancestral line of your womb space. The ancestral line including endometriosis, any type of fertility problems, any sort of blocks in intuition. The thing is like, I think it's like through 10 generations we have over 4,000 or something ancestors. So the amount of ancestors that we have, or some unresolved pain or trauma that has gone on in our family line, in our ancestral lineage, is quite high. So when you do this and you start to feel that like, okay, maybe there's something bigger happening, or you'll start getting flashes. I was doing this today and I saw past life come up where I was a sex slave and I had learned different patterns with men that were coming up from this lifetime that I was still embodying and playing out and going, oh, that's why that's there? My goodness. So this is the importance of this. Like, this is the importance of why we want to clear out these channels. This is why we want to really start shedding, because it will actually have an influence on our choices, our behaviors, what we're magnetizing in, all sorts of stuff. So bringing that golden flame energy with the intention of healing and resetting and clearing at a cellular level, letting all that is not you, all that is not in present time, all that is from ancestral family lineage, maternal line, all the way through, allowing all of that energy to just start to flow away and fall down, again, through that root chakra, all the way down to the center of Mama Gaia, all the way down to the center of the planet. Allow her gravitational pull, allow her energy to start pulling and pulling and pulling, working like a vacuum, just pulling out all that energy that is not yours. There you go, Amy, good job. And to everyone else who's here listening, knowing that all of these healings and all these reflections are here for all of us at exactly the right time. Io satanaya ia wapu ukuna haakanaya uapuna kai. Siatianaya ia wa muupua kahania wa akana akapua uanaka ia wa siatanaya iakia. I tuanaya uapuna kuahu ukua haakanai I ia kiotono wa uapuana akanai. Ia wa sutunu uapu ukua haakanai. Ia wa siatanai ia kiatanai ia wa uapu unua haakanai ia wa pu'ukua kana ia wa su'ukua. There's an energy coming through here right now about reconciling baby being agreements. Feeling into how important it is for me to go into this. Is there anyone here who's live that is curious? Jamie, you asked about the baby beings. Maybe that's why this is here. Amy, stay present. Everyone else, stay present. Gemma, can you go ahead and ask the question that you had asked earlier so I can see it here in the comments again, please? Let's go ahead and just take some nice big deep breaths as we feel this energy in the space. If you're here live, you can feel it, yes? Can you feel the energy that's moving through us? Can you feel the support of your own guides, your own angels that are here helping to open your own field, here to open your own awareness, allowing all that is not you continuing to flow away? You can feel the field. The fun thing about doing these lives is that I can not only feel the energy of the people who are here live, but I can feel the energy of the people who will be watching this in space and time in the replay. Iotanai ia kunukua tunukua punukua ukunukua tutunukua tutunukua kukua tukanakai ia kiatana ki ia wapu usu nuua punukurukurukuruku. Okay, Gemma, do I have to have any spirit babies who want to manifest physically into this current reality? Do you have any? Iotanai ia wapu nua ku uakana ia kiatana ia wapu nukua. I kianaya ia wa sutunua ua pu ukunuhu ukua kuatana kia kiatanukua pu ukua tukunukua ua punukua. Okay, so something that is coming through, and Gemma, I am going to get to you personally, but something that's coming through for me to share is, and I had a really very interesting conversation with a friend earlier today. Okay, you're not sure what to ask, but you have come in and you do have some lost babies. You no longer can have them. Okay, there is a baby theme here. Okay, so this was a conversation that I had with a friend earlier today, because I've had some very interesting experiences in my life as a medium starting about 10 years ago, where I started this started when I was like 20. I forgot about this, but this started when I was like 20. I started getting these baby beings that were knocking on my door trying to call me mom, and I'm 34 and I have no children. But I would start getting these like feelings like, oh my gosh, I have to have a child. And so it's these baby beings, it's these spirits that are ready to come into this world. And so they're looking for fertile soil. They're looking for fertile mothers to be able to bring them into this existence so that they can have their turn, they can have their incarnation. I do have several videos on my channel that talk about conscious star seeds and star seeds that are ready to incarnate in this world and what that means. So I'm going to give the download on this a little bit. I'm going to kind of go around here because I feel like there's a lot of information that just wants to come through. So these conscious star seeds are star seed beings that are volunteering, usually from another planet, that have already come through several portals and several gateways to acclimate to the frequency of Earth, knowing that they have come here with the soul contracts to bring light to this planet. These are the indigo children. Some call them the waves of volunteers, light workers. Like there's all sorts of different names for some of these beings. And that's why I believe that when I was a little girl, I was so much more concerned with where do we come from, because I knew that I came from somewhere else, that wasn't what I was being told. So these beings that want to come in through to parents that are conscious, through parents that are conscious. And what I mean by conscious, to make this very simple, is people who are spiritually aware and spiritually awake, people who have remembered the truth of their divine sovereignty, and are aware of the systems and programs that are running in this world that we may call the matrix, that are keeping loads of humanity enslaved. So there are these beings that want to come into this world that can come to through conscious parents so that they don't have to go through the process of awakening. Their experience of amnesia, of not remembering the truth of their being, the truth of where they have been before, is not there so much because they're actually coming into parents that have already done a lot to reconcile their ancestral traumas and all that stuff. So Gemma, when you're asking, are there babies around you that want to come into this world and call you mom? Without even reading the energy, just the simple fact that you are asking that question is usually an indicator that there are. So if you are feeling that urge, if you're feeling that call, and you're starting to go, okay, I actually am ready for this. I want this in my world and I want this in my life. Because for me, as I've mentioned, this started when I was like 22. This has been going on for over 12 years for me, and I still have not obliged. I have not said, yes, this is the right circumstance, or this is how I want this to happen. So it's also up to you. You have the free will choice to be able to do it. And when you do say, yes, I'm interested, yes, this is what I want to do, yes, I want to create this timeline, yes, I want this life experience, and you start to actually fully consciously embody that, okay, yes, 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 like click, 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 here are the things, then it will start to actually open those channels that will bring them to you. Now, here's the other interesting thing, is that these soul contracts come through different sets of parents, and they come through different sets of people in different sort of ways, let's say. So it is usually, I'll start with what it is usually. It is usually that one of these star children or one of these baby beings has an agreement with mother or with father or both before the time the mother or the father incarnates, which means that usually, let's say there's, I'm the only product of my parents, so I actually don't have any full blood siblings, yet I have 5 siblings. I grew up in a very mixed modern day American family, steps, halves, here's, there's, everywhere, that sort of thing. So what I have learned through my own personal experience is that I believe that I was soul contracted very clearly to grow up with the stepmom that my father ended up marrying when I was very young. And I've also done readings with people who've had endometriosis and not able to get pregnant, but I can see that their soul contracts have come through the children that they are meant to or destined to adopt in this life. So if you are unable to have children, as we read in the chat, that doesn't mean that there are not babies or beings that still have a desire to call you mom and want to participate in this world with you at this time. So when you're open to it, and we can even say a prayer right now, we can say an invocation prayer, if that feels aligned to you. If it doesn't, just simply hold space and set the prayer for those on the call here that do want that life experience and are calling it in now. So let's just go ahead and close our eyes, connect your grounding cord, and you can just silently in your head set a prayer intention that you are ready, that this life experience is what it is that you are calling in. If there's a biological reason that you're not able to physically have your own children, ask for the openness and the ways for these lines of these connections of beings that you are here to take care of. And for some of you, that may even be puppies or maybe cats or a pet of some sort. But for those that want children and want to bring that in, go ahead and allow that intention to be set very clearly for yourself now. I'm also feeling a little bit of impatience on the line, that like, when is this going to happen sort of thing. So let's just take a deep breath and trust that all is occurring in divine timing. Divine timing is always a factor that we sometimes do and don't have control of, but for the most part don't have control of, especially when it comes to this particular matter. And I'll share a story on this one. So I used to do readings in my early 20s for psychic hotlines, like Miss Cleo kind of stuff. Fun fact. Made great money doing readings on the beach in Maui. It was lovely. But I got a reading one time. It was an email reading from a person. Oh yeah, Ted, you were there. um, I did a reading for a person. It was an email reading, and they were asking about their child. They were asking about their baby. And I had never connected in this way. Like the baby being thing, I always pushed away because I was like, I don't want that for me, so I don't want to read that. Like it was just kind of like, not so much. Um, but so I get this email and I'm like typing it out, and so I'm tuning in. I'm like, okay, to the field. What's the answer? What's the response? And this baby, boom, comes right here, and he's like, my name is Rex. I'm gonna be born at this time. This da 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 da. And he goes, and make sure my mom and dad get an astrology, a natal chart of my astrology, so that when I'm born, I know the map, that is going to show me what I need to do in my life at this point, this point, this point. And it was really interesting because at that point in my life, I also was not very connected to astrology at all. But in doing this connection and hearing this from this little baby Rex, it was so clear to me the importance that astrology actually plays. So I'm a naturalist when it comes to this. I know that some people use like in vitro fertilization and they do all of these other things to get pregnant, and they want to do this and this and this and this. I'm definitely more of a naturalist in that sense because I've seen the timeline of the way that certain things are supposed to play out. And it's not to say that everything is set in stone, because it's not. We don't have those destiny checkpoints in the same way that you don't actually know how you're going to die. And you don't know how you're going to die because there are death windows. There are different opportunities where you can either choose to check out or you can choose to stay. In the same way, a woman could choose to have a baby, or a woman could evoke a miscarriage. We do have more choice in some of these things on a soul level than we think. Now, that being said, there are also some pre-contracted agreements for some souls that come into this earth, where it's almost like they've agreed, and I'm talking about like early passings. These early passings what we would perceive as an early passing can happen to evoke a very strong sensation and a very strong reaction in the people in this world that are left living, so that the purpose of their life and the purpose of their life experience will generally get turned up. It changes, right? We've seen this, we've witnessed this in our communities with our loved ones in all sorts of ways. But there are certain points in which these soul contracts are played out, and they're played out before conception. Like these soul contracts are written before we even come into the body. So why is it important to remember your soul memories? Why is it important to actually investigate where did you come from? Why is it important to remember? Do you know that you actually have inside of you right now the memory of your moment of conception? Think about that for a minute. Now, I was a mistake. I was an unplanned surprise. Here we are. Hello, I made it. I was an unplanned surprise, and when I was doing my psychic training at the Berkeley Psychic Institute a million years ago, we did a reading. Yep, Ted, you were there. Maybe. But we did this meditation where we actually went back to it was like the months before our moment of conception, the moment of conception, the first trimester, the second trimester, the third trimester, what the energy of the room was when we were born, what our birth experience was like. You have all of these memories. Like we think we don't know. We think that our body one does not forget. Our body remembers all of it. Our body has the encoding of what was going on in that room. Intense is an understatement, Ted. I totally agree. But our body has the memory of what that imprint was. So our soul, because you were conscious at the moment of conception, you were conscious before the moment of your conception, you were there before you were conceived, before your parents loved each other very much and were able to create this human being that is you. Do you know how powerful it is when we start accessing and activating our soul memories? When we start even remembering in past lives when we died and how we died? When we start noticing that death itself is simply a window of transition, but that, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this call, that we're able to communicate heart to heart with or without a body. And I'm just being a little bit frank about this. I know that, like, with a lot of these conversations, it can bring up all sorts of feelings and all sorts of emotions and all sorts of stuff because it challenges our belief systems. Amy, I'm so glad you're enjoying this. I'm glad it's perfect for you tonight. But it challenges our belief system. So we have these ideas, we have these identities, we have these things that maybe we were taught about death and heaven and where we go if you're a good person or you're a bad person, or like whatever these stories are. But I can tell you that as a medium, a lot of what we're told is not the case. And I want you to know that you do not have to be a medium. You do not have to have these extra abilities activated. Being psychic is part of being human. Every single person that's listening to this now or 5 years from now has the ability to communicate and create that conversation from your heart to the heart of a loved one that has passed and to the heart of a baby being, a baby spirit that wants to communicate and connect with you. You do not have to be born a medium. You do not have to have these things. You don't have to have a near-death experience. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to have any of that. All I'm telling you is that you have to have a desire to communicate, a desire to connect, and an open heart and a willingness to let your beliefs about what this life experience is change. Because if you are not willing to let your belief system change, you will not experience what you are seeking. That's a big shift, everyone. Good job. Yotanaya wa uapua kanaka yawa siatana kuapu sutuanaya uapu nukuatana kai ia siatona wapu nakuakuanakai sutanai I kiatanai ia kanakai ia wapu nukutuanakuanakai si siatanaya ia wapu unukua haakanakanai kia siatanai ituanapuana kanaya ia wapua kuanakuakaya Isia siatanaya ia tiana duhtutut kanakai sutunuku atanakaya tiatanakia wa uapua kua haakanakia tunuku kuatanaki kia tanakai sutunuku atanakia tanaya ia kuapunuku ukuaka kanakai sisia tanakaka kanakupua sio atanaya hiaka. Big deep breath. And if you know tapping, now's a good time to do some tapping. Tapping the crown, tapping inside the eyebrow, tapping side of the eye, tapping below the eye, tapping below the nose, tapping on the chin, tapping on the collarbone. That sensitive spot right under the arm where the bra strap would be, and then the crown of the head. You can do a couple rounds of that. Tapping, EF tapping taps the meridian points inside of the body. It's a miraculous biohacking tool that moves energy through. Gemma, did that answer your question, my love? Thank you for coming with that. I could feel that that was like a theme that was coming up anyway. And so happy that we could all kind of learn, expand, shift some paradigms and open to a world that's greater than just what we can see, taste, hear, touch, and smell, but know that we can also feel the sensations of the greater invisible world, in a way that nurtures our soul, in a way that nurtures our heart. So I do want to keep this to about an hour tonight. It feels so good to be back in the saddle. I went through a bit of my own journey in the last year or so, less than a year since I started doing daily lives. And I'm going to be starting a podcast that's called Beyond the Physical. I am going to be doing more of these lives, and I'm also going to be sharing some sound healing with singing bowls, because my inner divine mother has been craving to create music for about 3 years, and I have no previous musical background, no previous musical experience, and it is like it just wants to pour out of me. So I finally gifted myself some bowls, some singing bowls, so that I could make some music for you as well, to help heal your heart, to help heal your soul. So if you would like to support in any way, please, of course. Honestly, my first recommendation is to join the 7 Weeks to Embody Your Higher Self course if you haven't already. Best place to start if you want to go deeper. It is a life changer. It is a game changer. I'm still getting incredible feedback on that one. So that's a great place to start. I'm going to be posting some like mugs and stuff that you can buy. My book is on its way to be published. Of course, getting the podcast out. I've been a busy bee in my phase of hibernation. But all of your support, your donations, all sorts of stuff that comes in, your purchases of anything that is available, all help support so much more than you know. So I would like to say thank you in advance for supporting this platform, for participating, all your likes, shares, comments, spreading the word, all of that helps so much more than you know. And get ready to see a lot more of me and some special guest friends on here a lot more often. We're going to start having a lot more fun here on this platform. So with that being said, let's go ahead, let's do a little closing meditation, just real quick, little drop in before we close out. Go ahead, again, couple nice big deep breaths, always returning to the breath. Staying in the place in that centeredness of your own heart. Connecting your root chakra all the way down to the center of the planet. Allowing all that is not you to fall away. Allowing yourself to witness, to see the experience of your previously indoctrinated beliefs and paradigms about birth and death, to be visited, to say hello. And I encourage you to let your mind let go of what it thinks it knows, so that your heart can speak loudly to you. Your soul memories are actually located in your heart. That's where your soul resides, inside of your physical body. So when our heart is closed, we're not able to access those memories, which is why in a lot of my courses we focus on heart healing and soul illumination in that space, which means forgiveness, which means compassion, which means gratitude, which means open-heartedness, which means love for self and all those around us, in all ways, in all forms, in all parallel realities, in all past and future lifetimes, in all relationships here and now, in all relationships lost on us, all relationships lost in bitterness, and just simply by means of pathways separating. Sending a deep bow of gratitude to all those who are in your life that will feel the ripple effect of your own healing on a conscious and subconscious level. Allowing yourself to be a beacon of illuminated light, a beacon of illuminated light force energy, and allow your wings that are there on the back to reach all the way up, all the way up, all the way to the sky. For some of you, you can even envision your wings going all the way up past the moon. You didn't think you had little baby wings, did you? Stretching those out. If you're like, what is this lady talking about? That's okay. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I can feel them. And I do encourage you to watch the video that is here on my channel called How to Find Your Wings. It used to be a paid course. I ended up uploading it here so that you can find it for free. Feel free to send in donations if you feel called. Allowing yourself to be open to receiving the guidance of your own heart, that you are your own guru, you are your own ally, you are your own best friend. I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to jump in here. Like I said, please feel free to join my email list. You can find that on my Instagram channel at sitara.speaks. And you can also find it in the description of some of the videos below, or you can go to monadsociety.com. That's MONAD society.com, and just go ahead and put your email information in there, and you will be added to the list to get these notifications when I just get this wild hair to jump on. Sometimes it just feels right for it to be unplanned. And I will start creating a schedule of when there will be some lives. But stay tuned, my sweet loves. I'm sending you all the blessings of sweet dreams, abundance, prosperity, harmonious relationships, and true love to enter your heart and life. I love you. I adore you. And remember, we are in this together. We're all just as human as the rest of us. All right, my loves. Mwah. Have a blessed evening, and I look forward to seeing you soon.